Welcome to the Black Sparrow Media Internet Broadcast Network.
You are listening to Linux in the Ham Shack. LHS is a podcast about Linux, open source, and amateur radio, for everyone. Now here are your hosts, Cheryl, W5MOO, Russ, K5TUX, and Bill, NE4RD.
Well, hello everybody, and welcome. You have tuned in to episode number 590 of Linux in the Ham Shack, the most terrific amateur radio podcast on the internet. This is our Weekender edition, the 132nd edition of the Weekender. So we're glad you joined us tonight for some hedonism and whatever topic the picker wheel chooses for us. And we'll get to that in just a minute. But before we spin the wheel, let's introduce ourselves. I'm Russ, K5T. I'm Russ, and I almost forgot my call sign, K5TUX.
I'm Cheryl, W5MOO.
And I'm Bill, NE4RD.
All right. So it's going to be one of those. Anyway, let's go ahead and click the button here and see if we hear something from the picker wheel. And, of course, we don't. It is spinning, I assure you. It's slowing down. And it stopped on International Whiskey.
International Whiskey?
Yeah. I think this was sort of a reference to things that aren't like Scotch. And maybe
like
a little
Irish
bit of
whiskey?
Well, see, that's the thing. There are
Japanese
more
whiskey,
than,
Indian whiskey.
There's Japanese, there's Taiwanese, there's Indian, there's French. Actually, we have a French whiskey in the house, which is it's a weird thing. It's also not particularly good.
Ce n'est pas possible.
That means what? You don't believe it?
It's not
Or
possible.
it's impossible? Yeah.
C'est incroyable.
No, there is a French whiskey. Hey, we might as well start there since we're talking about it. It's called Brenna, Bren, whatever I assume that's French, so however you pronounce it in French. Brenne. We have the 10-year, and we got the 10-year Bren maybe 10 years ago. So it's been a long time. I think I drank it once, discovered that it's pretty awful, and I don't think I've touched it again. I'm on the Bren website, and let's see what it says about it. It's bottled at 40%, so you know it's just to make a French whiskey, and there's no thought put to it. It says it's aged 6 to 8 years. It won Best in Category. It's probably the only one in its category back in 2016 and 2017. So that does sort of mesh with the 10-year time frame. It's probably 8 or 9, but whatever. It got a 93 from Wine Enthusiast and won double gold at the San Francisco World Spirit Competition. So that competition, that's suspect. It says the first single malt in the world exclusively in French, which, to go back to the Best in Category award, confirms that it was the only one. It says it's exclusively in French Limousin, oak, and cognac casks, twice distilled in copper alembic still, aged for a minimum of 6 years, says 6 to 8. Perfumed fruit and French patisserie aromas and creamy complex sugar notes of creme brulee and burnt caramel. On the palate, notes of banana, tropical fruit, and warm spices like cinnamon and clove. And now I have to have you guys talk for a minute while I go get this bottle and revisit the pile of stink that was Brenna 10. So I'll be back in a second.
The pile of stink. You guys also picked up one from what like Japanese whiskey too, right? Do we have that
we've
at
got
the convention?
Yeah, we've got a Japanese and we've got an Indian, I believe.
Ah.
So
Yeah, I've only ever had the Japanese one with you guys, and well, I've had tons of Irish whiskey.
Well, yeah. So talk about
I was
Irish
there.
whiskey. Well, right.
I have talked about it in pretty distinct terms, I guess. Most of them were not great. I visited a lot of the distilleries there. Clonakilty was one of my favorite ones, only because they had some interesting beer finishes that they did with their whiskeys, which kind of gave them some character and stuff like that that really wasn't present in most of the Irish whiskeys that I tasted. The rum cask finish in Tullamore is pretty good. The rum cask finish for Bushnell's was not great. Powers pretty much all sucked. Even like Powers 12 and stuff like that. I went to the Jameson factory, whatever distillery. Meh. Glendalough was good. I mean, there's just such a ton of them over there. But it was interesting to find out that like most of them like disappeared in the 70s and didn't return until more recently in history due to various economic and localized issues.
I know you were talking about Irish whiskey. Cheryl left the chat. So
she's
so you're talking to yourself, but that's okay.
That's normally how it works anyway. I'm used to that.
I did find the bottle of Brenna, whatever. 10.
Bren. It'd just be Bren.
Bren.
It'd be like Bren with a hard N at the end, but not enough to create the E sound. So it'd be Bren. It's like
that sounds
weird
like
N sound.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I can tell you one thing, that if it weren't for the fact that it was whiskey, you could use it as fake urine, because that's what it looks like. It's really, really light. So I didn't even deign to put this in a Glencairn. I just have it in a regular glass. Yeah. I don't think I reviewed this. I'm pretty sure I didn't, but
I don't think you have. No.
Yeah. Well, I'm about to try it again for the first time in a very long time. So here we go. Oh man. Well, first of all, for being 80 proof, it's really hot. And it also has, it has two things going on. It has, how I mentioned all those fruit things. It does taste sort of like, it has that like banana and pineapple and maybe a couple of other different fruits in there, grape possibly. And then it has the oak from like the casks, but they don't mix. You can taste them literally both separately, and it's not good. It's like you took a swig of whiskey and then you took a swig of fruit juice, and they don't go together. Yeah. So
that sounds amazing. I can't wait to ever try that. I'm sure that a bottle will be still just as full next time I come to your house.
It absolutely will, because while I will not waste this, and I will somehow power through what little I poured of it, it will be the last time for the next 9 years, more than likely, that this comes off the shelf. So, wow, it's not okay. I don't want to say it's terrible. It's not terrible. If I was going to rate it, I would definitely put it somewhere in probably the low to mid 70s, but it's weird. It's like really wrong. It's like it's trying to be two different things, and it's actually neither of them.
It's failing at both.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, well, there's that.
Save a little bit of it and let me try it again. So
okay, I will do that.
That way you don't have to power through all of it.
So the other like international whiskeys that I'm familiar with, the Japanese whiskeys, a lot of them are very much like Scotch because they're made in the Scotch tradition. They often use the same barrels, and there are some very, very good Japanese whiskeys. The one that I think we were talking about a little bit earlier is the Nika Miyagikyo, which is a very, very, very good Japanese whiskey. But like a lot of the Asian whiskeys, they're in the Scotch style. The Indian ones, on the other hand, the ones like Amrut and the other one that I can't think of the name of, it's got like the name of a person. It might come to me at some point. Those are really interesting because they're not like scotches. They actually have a spice kick, like the curries and allspice and those kind of spices that you get from Indian cuisine. They're actually in the whiskey as well. So I find them really interesting. What other ones have we tried? Well, there's Australia too. Australia is a big up and coming whiskey producer country.
I forgot to grab that while I was in the game room.
The Australian whiskey.
Yeah, I have the Japanese and the Indian. I grabbed those, but I forgot the Australian.
We actually have two different Australians. We have the one whippersnapper, and then we have the other one, the Starward. I think Starward.
Starward. Yeah.
Australian whiskey is actually really good. It's made more like bourbon and rye than Scotch. And it's also not like they don't have Australian single malts and stuff like that, which also is trying to capture the Scotch aspect, but they tend to lean more towards the way it's produced in America. Now, I don't know. I think we've talked about it before. Like there's, of course there's Scotch and there's Irish, but there's also English whiskey. I don't know where that's at in its stage right now because it was illegal for a long time, and now I guess it's not. So there are some English distilleries coming around, but I think they're young and there may not be a lot of product. I'm trying to think of other countries that I've heard of or that I've had whiskey from. Like South American and Central American countries. Haven't really heard about that. Central European countries, they may make whiskey. I don't know. I haven't heard of like any, Norwegian or Dutch whiskey or anything like that. Like the far eastern countries and like the Russian bloc or former Russian bloc countries, they tend to go with other spirits, not whiskey. I'm just kind of spinning my wheels here trying to think about other whiskeys. So feel free to jump in and flesh out anything you know of.
Well, you have way more experience than I do, so.
I'm actually looking at some information on whiskey.com. Apparently, Sweden has several distilleries. Let's see here. What else? Denmark, England, Finland, France, Iceland, Italy, Netherlands, Austria, Switzerland, Czech Republic, and Wales. India, Japan, Thailand, Pakistan, Taiwan, and I believe that our listener Gene actually went to the Cavalon distillery and sent us pictures because he currently lives in Taiwan.
And Israel, Cavalon is actually available in the U.S. and we've had it. So
right, yeah, Israel has some, Canada, U.S., South America, Africa. Apparently, Africa has two different ones. Australia. So there you go.
Yeah. Well, so the thing I said before about Norway and the Netherlands, apparently I was just dead wrong about that.
Yeah.
So, but the Swedish whiskey, I'd be interested in giving that a crack. It's probably not something you can get here. Do they have any like brands or names of distilleries?
Mackmyra, Mackmyra. You know more about the pronunciation than I do.
That's probably pretty close.
It's not the only distillery in Sweden, but it is the best known. Distillation began. Right. Distillation began in 1999.
Shows they went defunct in 2024.
Of course they did. They produce high quality single malt whiskey in the Scottish style. So.
Oh yeah. See, that's one thing that I've found is a lot of the foreign whiskey makers, the ones that are overseas, tend to follow the methods used by either the United States and Canada or Scotland. They tend to be a lot like Scotch. So, but they also have their idiosyncrasies. So there's a whole wide world of international whiskey out there. Just do yourself a favor and don't buy the French one.
Good advice.
It's not as bad as Wood Hat.
Wood hat.
Yeah, well.
Was that the one that tasted like the weird corn one?
Yes.
Yeah. No redeeming qualities.
Yeah, exactly. Well, that was an interesting trip down whiskey lane, I guess. So I don't have much to say about that. I would say that if you do find some whiskeys from another country, if you're the kind of person who likes to experiment, or even if you're just a regular old whiskey drinker, and you happen to stumble across something that's a little on the unusual side, like a whiskey that comes from Australia or Taiwan or whatever, and these are things that are available in the United States, you should definitely try them. The ones that make it here and wind up on store shelves tend to be pretty good. The notable exception being this French one. And I don't even know if they've done anything other than this 10 one. Apparently they have a 10 plus year aged one. They're both called, oh wait, is that the one I have? Oh yeah, I have the older one. I have the one that's aged 10 plus years. It's still bad. so
maybe try a young one, right?
Yeah, maybe try the younger one. These, I wonder if you can even buy these. Let me click on the buy now, see what it says. Oh, it's buying directly from them. So, and $78. That's for the cheap one. How much was the expensive one? $116. I don't think I paid that for this, or at least I sure hope I didn't.
Looks like you can find it in random places here. Because I can find one here at remedyliquor.com.
Is it $115?
No, it's $49 on sale. It's the single malt finished in a cognac barrel.
So it's not the 10 one, it's the cheaper one.
Yeah, probably the one you want to try.
Yeah. It might be better than this one, that's for sure. Well, again, I don't think I paid $115 for this bottle. I sincerely hope I did not. I'm usually pretty picky about spending, over $100 on a bottle of stuff. And but whatever I paid for this is clearly remorse buy. So,
well, I'm looking at Total Wine here. The Amaret Fusion Indian whiskey that we've got is $74.99 on the shelf today.
Yeah, that sounds about right for what we paid back when we bought that one. That's been quite a while now. And what was the other
another
one?
10 plus year bottle.
I don't think the Amaret is quite that old. But what was the other one?
That's all I mentioned.
Well, you said you grabbed two things. You grabbed the...
I got the Miyagikyo.
Oh, like a Miyagikyo. Yeah.
Yeah. I forgot to grab the Star Ward because I forgot about it. So
the Miyagikyo is expensive. Not stupid expensive, but it's expensive. It's about
$92.99.
Well, it's apparently anywhere from 75 to 100, depending on where you get it from.
Well, that's here, but yeah.
But the Miyagikyo is way, way worth it. If you want a really, really good, in the tradition of Scotch Japanese whiskey, Nika Miyagikyo is excellent. So, and it'll be in the show notes because you can't spell it unless you see it. But yeah. All right. Well, let's get off of international whiskey and talk about some more manageable hedonism, I guess. At least stuff that's a little bit close. Well, actually, no, this isn't closer to home. This is Central American. We're talking about El Salvadorian.
That's
food.
true. Yeah, that's true. So it's just an international night tonight.
It is international tonight, and that's good. It's good to embrace the international because the international community has some great stuff.
You should change your choice of drink tonight for your.
Well, it's a little late for that.
You haven't talked about it, so.
Well, I already did the brand. I can just say, well, screw what I was going to talk about.
No.
Right.
Yeah. No, exactly. All right. Well, let's move on into the second half of the show here and talk about some El Salvadorian food and drinks, and then I'll sort of bring it back. Bill and I will bring it back into the States here and talk about some
American
whiskey.
Great.
But we are going to have an international treat tonight for dinner, and Charles is going to tell you what that is. We already gave away that it's from El Salvador, but anyway, what is it?
Right. So tonight for dinner, I am fixing pupusas with curtido. For those that are not familiar, they are El Salvadorian stuffed corn cakes served with curtido and salsa roja. The curtido is basically pickled coleslaw. I took some liberties with mine, but I'm going to give you the actual real recipe. The pupusas are typically filled with melted cheese, jalapeno, squash, meats, beans, whatever you decide to stick in them. I grew up enjoying these with my dad many, many years ago. So making them is kind of a trip down memory lane. I never made them with Dad. We always bought them, but that's the memory, and that's what's for dinner tonight. So for the curtido, you need cabbage, carrots, Mexican oregano. Excuse me, if you can't find it, regular oregano will work. Hot water, apple cider vinegar, kosher salt, and sugar. For the dough for the pupusas, you need masa, which is corn flour, kosher salt, and cold water, but just cold tap water is fine. For the filling, again, you can take your liberties with these. Use any sort of shredded cheese that you like, mozzarella, cheddar, whatever you pick. Pickled jalapenos, squash, and then for your hands to make the pupusa patties, you need some water and some olive oil or neutral oil of some sort to keep it from sticking to your hands, because the dough is extremely sticky. Mine is currently resting on the kitchen cabinet because a podcast called. So the instructions on how to do these will be in the show notes, but it seems complicated and it seems like there's a lot of ingredients. That's not that bad. So definitely take a stab at doing these. Once you get them all rolled up in a little ball and flattened out like a patty, just grill them in a cast iron skillet is preferable, but any type of skillet and you're all set for dinner. So with the curtido, you can either eat it on the patty or rip the patty open and kind of stuff it down in there. It's however you want to do it. So that is our recipe for tonight. For my mixed drink corner, I picked the El Salvador. Now, obviously, this didn't come from El Salvador, but that's the name of it, so that's what we're going with. And for that, it calls for gold rum, lime juice, grenadine syrup, and hazelnut liqueur like Frangelico. With that, just shake it all up, dump it in a glass, and you're all set. So, and
actually, sounds kind of good. Better than French whiskey.
Well, there you go. I did find another recipe. Well, I found the mention of another drink that's actually a Salvadorian drink, but I couldn't find a recipe. And it's basically a form of sangria, but I didn't get any more. I couldn't get any more information about it. So maybe I'll find that and let everybody know about it while you're doing your drink stuff. So.
All right. Very good. Well, mine's not going to be a very lengthy review. This is of a bottle that's been sitting on the shelf unopened for a while, for a year and a half almost, because I got it at the distillery that's in downtown Louisville, the Evan Williams distillery, specifically last year in 2024. So I figured I would open it up tonight and take a taste, because I haven't had it since we had it at the distillery. This is the Evan Williams Square 6 High Rye whiskey. I don't know why they have to specify rye twice. If you say it's high rye, it's rye. But this is enough rye that it's a rye, not a high rye bourbon. So the mash bill on it is actually printed on the bottle, which doesn't seem to happen very much when it comes to big, whiskey producers. But it's cool that this is. But also, this is only available at the distillery. This is one of those. So if you want it, you got to go to Louisville. The description I have is Square 6 High Rye is the second Square 6 product produced exclusively at the distillery located at the Bourbon Experience in downtown Louisville. Whiskey uses a new rye mash bill that differentiates itself from Heaven Hill's traditional 51-35-14. This one is 63 rye, 24 corn, and 13 malted barley. It's the company's first product to be designated a high rye. Whatever. I would think a high rye would be 100% rye. That's about as high rye as rye can get. The rye joins the company's Square 6 bourbon, which is also distilled at the Experience. Evan Williams states that artisanal distiller Jody Filiatro distills 1 barrel of American whiskey per day at the downtown Louisville location. So, again, if you want this, you have to go there to get it. It's pretty light in color, even though it, by definition, has to be aged 4+ years because there's no age statement on it. It's bottled at 95 proof, so a little bit higher than your standard 40%. So that's nice. It's a light copper color, so it doesn't have a lot of age on it. And the notes on it are interesting, and I bought this because it is interesting, not because it's particularly good, but it's definitely different than a lot of ryes. The nose on it is rye grain, wintergreen, light oak, anise, earthy damp forest, and paper. Paper being a very specific note. It definitely has a paper taste. I don't think I've specified paper ever in a review before now. On the taste, there's some dry oak, rye spice, aromatic spice vanilla, pine, and petrichor. And if you don't know what that is, it's the smell of damp earth, basically. And on the finish, you have pine, rye spice, leather, a hint of tobacco, oak, and grains. One thing I will say is that the oak notes in this are very forward. So if you don't like a lot of barrel influence, you probably just go ahead and pass on this one. Actually, I probably recommend passing on this one anyway, because I must have had a few drinks at the distillery, because obviously it tasted better then than it does now. Because I'm rating it an 86. It's not a horrible rye, but it's also not a great one. And it runs like $80 to $90 a bottle, and it is definitely not worth it. So yeah, if you're going to buy something at the distillery in Louisville, buy something else. Definitely give this one a try. I mean, try it there if it's an option, so you can see what it's like. And maybe this will fit your flavor profile way better than it fits mine. But I'm definitely giving it a hard pass. This might make a pretty good like old fashioned. I might have to try that at some point. But yeah, it's kind of a passer for me. So anyway, that's Evan Williams Square 6 High Rye Whiskey. Okay, let's let Bill talk about what he's got.
Well, yeah, the reason why we're recording this on an odd night is because I went to a concert in Missoula, Montana, and on the way back, I decided to stop in the town of Butte, Montana, and go to a distillery there that's fairly popular in the state called Headframe Spirits. And I picked up a few bottles. This was one of the ones that I picked up, and it's called Kelly. It's a Distiller Select American Single Malt Whiskey, and it's a 5-year pick. It's a cask strength pull, so you can only get this at the actual distillery itself. So it's another one of those things you can only get at the distillery. It's at 65% ABV, 130 proof, and they've been distilling this since 2011 with all Montana-sourced ingredients. Hopefully just not using the water from the Berkeley pit, which is right next door. So, yeah, it's interesting. It's being a single malt. It definitely has that single malt flavor, but it has like this really big mouthfeel. I don't know how to describe it. It seems underwhelming to the nose, but then once you taste it, it's pretty amazing. Yeah, it's hard to describe. I don't think I've had anything that quite tastes exactly like this. I mean, relatively similar, obviously, because I mean you're in the same family and stuff with the whiskeys, but yeah, it's interesting. I might have to keep this one around and bring this to Hamvention next year. It's pretty good. It kind of falls along those same lines as that one we had from Undammed, but there's no smoke in this. So there's no smoky taste or anything else like that. But it has like a really good taste to it, and I'm kind of now excited to try the other cask strength one that I bought from them as well. But that'll have to wait till next time that we're on here. But yeah, this is Kelly's Distiller Select American Single Malt Whiskey out of Butte, Montana. Try it out if you can. If you can't, well, you can just dream about it.
And maybe it'll be at Hamvention, and you might be able.
Maybe it'll be at Hamvention. Yeah. Yeah.
All right, very good. Well, that brings us down to the end of the hedonism for tonight. You'll have to wait a couple more weeks before we get back to it, or you can, of course, indulge on your own anytime you like. So Let's move on to our announcements and feedback. And apparently, episode number 588 about remote SDR use generated some actual feedback. It must have been good.
Or bad.
So, or bad, yes. But we did get an actual couple of comments, like website comments on the episode. So that's kind of cool. The first one here is from W2HY, who says, best episode yet, in my humble opinion. Can you imagine Ham Van Winkle waking up from 20 years ago and seeing what his or her $30 can now buy in fully featured panoramic receiver technology? Yep, pretty cool. So thanks for the props. We appreciate that. It was a good episode to do, and hopefully it will generate a lot of SDR use. And there was another comment from Delta Foxtrot 1 Tango November, who says another way to get remote access to an SDR dongle is by forwarding the USB port to a remote computer. And he cited the ArchWiki, which apparently has an article on doing just that. So very cool. And thank you for the comment. We appreciate it. Apparently that got some listenership. Has that been pumped up to YouTube yet?
I don't even think so. I was just looking at that to see if I even cut an image for it. And no, I'm a couple episodes behind. So that's interesting.
Yeah, that may get us some good listenership up there on YouTube. We'll see how it goes. But with that, we're down to announcements. And of course, our announcements are the usual ones. Please support us on Patreon, PayPal, buying merch, sending us topics, and visiting, of course, the YouTube channel, which we just mentioned. We'd appreciate that. And before we go ahead and let you get out of here for this episode and get back to whatever it is you were doing, we will let Cheryl read our rather short list of subscribers, supporters, and participants for this week.
Well, let me add in real quick. I did find the drink recipe that I originally found. Kind of. It's called, it's called Refresco de Ensalada, or de Ensalada, excuse me. And in this, it calls for a 29-ounce can or an 850-gram can of pineapple slices in pineapple juice, mango, oranges, Granny Smith apples, lemon, cold water, sugar, and salt. This actually makes a punch recipe because the size of the recipe is for 10 to 12 people. But it says you can add rum or vodka to it to have a nice sangria-like drink. So
or you can throw in Everclear and make a El Salvadorian trash can punch.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, that's what it is. It sounds good. Apparently, the woman that posted it, when she first found it, the person that had, shared the recipe put lettuce in theirs. And she's like, yeah, nope, I wasn't going to do that. I might consider cucumber. So, but yeah, I'm not thinking lettuce would be good in this, but whatever. So, it does say it's best if you let it rest for a few hours or a day or two before you drink it. So, but it does sound good, and it sounds like it'd be very refreshing in the summer. So that has been found. So
okay. Yeah, I was gonna say you're still up.
Yeah, I'm still up. So for our next segment area, our new subscribers, supporters, and participants, we didn't have any subscribers or Patreons this week. We didn't have any free Patreons this week. On Twitter, we had @LMafio70. No one on Instagram, no one on Mastodon, no one on Blue Sky. On the mailing list, we had ZL2MST. On Discord, we had A.TAQIYY and Rat. No one on YouTube. And in the live chat, although he left, was Woody, KC1VOP, and Mike, K6GTE. So that's it.
Yep, that's all the list for this week, and that's all the news that's fit to print, I guess, or whoever said that originally. So with that, we'll go ahead and wrap this one up. This has been episode number 590 of Linux in the Ham Shack, the 132nd edition of The Weekender. We hope you have a great week and a great weekend, and will join us for the next recording, which will be a deep dive episode, and we'll be looking forward to that. So join us then, and in the meantime, have a great week, and we'll talk to you all very, very soon. So for episode number 590 of Linux in the Ham Shack, I'm Russ, K5TUX.
I'm Cheryl, W5MOO.
And I'm Bill, NE4RD73.
Thank you for listening to this episode of Linux in the Ham Shack. LHS is a community-sponsored podcast. Live recordings are Sunday nights at 8 o'clock Central Time. Our homepage can be found at lhspodcast.info. You can support the podcast via Patreon at patreon.com/LHS Podcast. We're also on Discord, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube and Mastodon. Contact us via email at info@lhspodcast.info or via voicemail at 190954777469. That's 1909 LHS Show. We also have merch. So until next we meet, remember to always heed your hedonism.